Hey, JK here. I want to thank you for sharing part of your day with me. For day 10, we're staying in the Lone Star State and talking about the Houston Astros as they were able to edge out the Texas Rangers in the AL West because of a bad game by Luis Castillo. That solidified them the spot on October 1st of 2023. Therefore, that is why they have the same record at 90-72 as the Rangers. Now, as you would expect, the big dogs in Houston have the category leads. For example, Bregman is the leader in runs, hits, and walks. Kyle Tucker leads in stolen bases, total bases, RBIs, triples, and doubles. Yordan Alvarez, despite only having 410 at-bats, led the team in home runs, on-base percentage, slugging, and on-base plus slugging, and Jose Altuve led the team in batting average, despite also being injured and missing a portion of the year. Did not slow the Astros down. Also, subpar production from starting catcher Martin Maldonado, starting outfielders Drake Myers and Corey Julks. Another guy, first baseman Jose Abreu, subpar production. And that did not slow the Astros down. And that pains me to say, because those guys were set up to fail. They absolutely were. They were set up to fail. And guess what? They didn't. And oh, God, that makes me mad. Because as a Yankees fan, at some point in time, they have to get bad again, right? Right? Tell me they're going to be bad again, man. The most frustrating part is whenever a star goes down, someone else is able to step up and be enough of a stopgap until that star comes back. Mauricio Dubon played infield, played outfield, was a productive out. He limited the strikeouts and did actually have 47 RBIs last year from hitting lower in the order. Another guy, Yanier Diaz. He split time with Martin Maldonado and still was able to hit 23 home runs and have a 280 plus batting average. Holy cow, dude, you're splitting time and you're still putting those numbers up? Martin Maldonado was hitting like 190 last year. Now, Maldonado's a much better defensive catcher than offensive catcher, which you can't do much worse than 190. So his defense could be like 191 and it would still be all right. Still be better in his offense. But in any case, point is, Yanier Diaz is going to be the guy this upcoming year. And I actually have him in a league or two as a keeper, late round keeper. So I'm excited because he is going to be able to produce. Another guy I'm actually going to be targeting later in my drafts, if he's still around, quietly had a great 2022 season. 2023, he exploded. He improved his runs, hits, home runs, RBIs, and stolen bases. So Chas McCormick may very well be a person on your radar for this upcoming year in fantasy who is going to produce for you. As we move to the pitching, one guy did lead everything, Framber Valdez. And the past 3 years, he has continue to improve in one way or the other. So, for example, his wins may go down, but his strikeouts go up. His losses may go up, but his ERA and or WHIP will go down. Talking about his ERA, it has been 3.4 or less the last 3 years. So that's pretty good. And every year, as his ERA goes down, his strikeouts go up. So I really am excited because I was able to snag him in a trade just a week or two ago, and I really didn't have to pay that much. So I'm really happy, as much as I hate, again, to say I want an Astros player to do well. He's absolutely going to be a cornerstone of my pitching in my fantasy league. Someone else, I don't have him because I trust him about as much as I trust building a house on sand, Christian Javier. Now, he had a really good stretch, the last 2 seasons. However, there were also times where he kind of forgot that when you give up a hit, that's bad. He forgot where the strike zone was, and when he did find it, it was a meatball right down the middle, hanging slider, and it was just right there for the pitchers to hit. Pitchers don't hit that well. I mean, unless you're like Bumgarner or Bartolo Colon that one time. Oh, I love Bartolo Colon. Pitchers don't hit. The hitters hit. So ball just hanging out over the plate. The hitters were going to hit that out of the park. But again, he had stretches where he showed complete dominance, and it was frustrating as a fantasy owner because someone did drop, and I was like, do I pick him up? Do I not pick him up? I decided not to. Felt silly the next week because he did great and then kind of fell face of the earth. Now, these next few stats are just simply going to reiterate the fact that Javier is very consistent. He had 162 innings pitched in 2023, and he struck out 159. Cool. He also walked 62. That did seem to come back to bite him a little bit, especially with the ERA. His ERA was 4.56. However, his WHIP was 1.27. So not terrible, but it's definitely not great. Now, he also started 6 less games in 2023 than he did in 2022. However, he played in one more game in 2023 than 2022 because of coming out of the bullpen, coming in as a starter, and then or a follow-up to a starter. So that is where that came in. But he also did have 14 more innings pitched in 23 than 22. So strikeouts went down, ERA went up, whip went up, walks went up. That's not the ratio you want to see. So that's unfortunate. The only bright spot is that he did have a 10 strikeout game this year. So again, he shows flashes, but unfortunately he can't be consistent. Talk about consistent. Hunter Brown was super consistent through the first 16 games of the year. Despite it being his rookie year, he was showing that he had the mental fortitude to get through tough times, because his first start, he was lit up and had like a 7+ ERA. Was able to get that down through the first 16 games and had an ERA below 4. However, come July 1st, that literally all went out the window and it jumped all the way to 5+. But let's get to the good, the bad, and the ugly. The good: 155 innings pitched, 178 strikeouts, 55 walks. So 3 times as many more strikeouts than walks. That's good. The bad: he had a 5+ ERA. That, I mean, you might be able to say that's ugly, but more bad, 1.36 whip. The ugly: his opponent's batting average was 262. Gosh, we talked about before, if you fail 7 out of 10 times in baseball, you're considered a success. So batting 300, these guys aren't too far off. Now, I know that if there's a batter whose batting average is 262 and one who's 300, you're going to take the 300. I get that. I know how baseball works. But at the same time, you don't want a batting average that high. More ugly: give up 88 earned runs. Reiterate, 16 games start the season. He was great. He had an ERA of 3.76. He was able to get in, get out. However, 6 of those 16 games, he was unable to get through 5 innings. One of those games, he had 102 pitches through 4 2/3. That was against the Twins. He also did have a 10 strikeout game against the Oakland Athletics, so that's something to look forward to. So there's a lot of good and a lot that needs to be worked on and honed and improved. But Hunter Brown is projected to be in the starting lineup this upcoming year. Supposed to be a third arm. So we'll see how that goes. He's also projected to throw less than what he did. I think the projection is like 152. So we'll see how it goes. As high as I am on Hunter Brown in the rotation, with some hesitation, he needs to get some stuff under control, I'm even more excited and high on the bullpen in Houston, which kills me to say. They have some guys in the bullpen that are scary. First, Bryan Abreu, 72 innings pitched, 100 strikeouts, did walk 31. That wasn't great. His ERA, 1.75. His whip, 1.07. He had 24 holes last year. That's pretty good. Now moving to the guy who was getting saves last year, Ryan Presley. He had 30+ saves last year. He walked 16 guys in 65 innings and struck out 74. I'll take that as well. That's pretty good. Another guy, Rafael Montero, had a terrible 2023 with a 5+ ERA. However, his 2022 was pretty good. His ERA was 2.3. His whip was 1.02. And he did what he needed to do in that bullpen. And he's going to have to step up because there were some departures, including Hector Neris. Everyone on this roster is pretty much rosterable in fantasy. As much as I hate to say, I will absolutely be targeting a few of these guys. Chaz McCormick will definitely be one. If I can get my hands on him, Kyle Tucker. Altuve's still producing at a high level. I really don't like Bregman, so I won't have him on my team. But again, some of these guys, just with the bats, doing what they need to do. Frombert is on my team in a few leagues. I'm going to look at that bullpen. Bryan Abreu, absolutely going to be one of the top guys that I'm looking at, especially with Matt Brash potentially being out for a large portion of the season. Hopefully it's just minor, like they said. But in any case, now we get to the people who were new arrivals to Houston. One main guy, Josh Hader, signed a 5-year deal. He's going to be the new closer. Now for the departures, main guy, Dusty Baker. He was a great guy. I really enjoyed watching him over the years. I have been a baseball fan. So as much as I hated him not getting another World Series, going out, I also wasn't upset because he was with the Astros. Other guys leaving, which I don't know if they'll be as missed. Martin Maldonado. So, yes, he is much better defensively behind the plate, but his offense was terrible. Hector Neris and Kendall Graven. Both those guys are bullpen arms. Hector Neris was lights out. He came from Philadelphia, and he was known for melting down, essentially. He was like a poor man's John Papelbon. So he came to Houston, got right, and now he's in Chicago. Graveman was with Houston, then he was away from Houston, now he's back with Houston, now he's hurt. He's going to be out for all of 2024. He would have been another arm in that bullpen, a warm body in that bullpen, not as good as some of the others, but had experience. He was with the Chicago White Sox at some point in time last year, then again came back to the Astros. So that's unfortunate for Graveman, but also the bullpen, which hopefully will implode anytime they play the Yankees. Overall, the Astros are good. Everyone knows it. I hate it, but they are. It is what it is. There's nothing we can do about it because they are going to produce. They have the players. They have the experience. And it's in their blood. I hate to say it, but it's in their blood. Next, we'll be moving to the National League and going to the National League West and talking about the Colorado Rockies. So we look forward to seeing you here tomorrow. This is J Cake, and I want to thank you for sharing part of your day with me.